go live on both our pages. So Facebook land today here at Comic Spot. Forget Comic Spot, Comic Spot, Mach. Today we have a comedy legend. Yes, he's toured the world. He's entertained the troops. He's been with Sam Kinison with the what is it called? The Outlaws of Comedy. Outlaws.
No, I worked with the Outlaws, not with Sam.
Oh, Sam was one of the Outlaws.
He was the Outlaws were Jimmy Schubert, Mitchell Walters, Alan Stephen, and Carl LeBeau. And I worked with Mitchell, Alan, Jimmy, and Carl.
Got it. Okay, wonderful. So you also were on radio a long time ago.
Yeah, and I'm on radio again now. I'm a producer at KKVV Radio. It's a Christian station here in Las Vegas.
Oh, wow. KKVV?
Yes.
What's that stand? That's like the call letter.
That's our call letters. Yeah, it's KKVV 1060 AM.
What time of day are you on there?
I am a board op, producer, and program manager. So I produce shows. I'm not on the air.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk to you about your early life that led you into comedy and some of the high points in your life. Is that possible?
Sure.
You've done this before?
Yeah, I have.
Are these boring questions to you?
No, not at all.
Okay. What made you decide that you're going to put a lot of things in the back burner and try to make people laugh?
Well, it was 1991, maybe 1992. I was playing in a band in the late 80s. 1986 was the last time. Between 86 and 88, I got too fat for spandex. And I ended up quitting the band and moved to Florida. And while I was in Florida, I had gone to school for air conditioning and refrigeration repair. So I started an AC company in Florida, and my partner ripped me off, and I went to a open mic night at Ron Bennington's comedy scene. I'd always been funny. When I was a little kid, my dad and my uncles would work on their cars every Saturday. So I couldn't wait to go down because they would all get under the hood, tell jokes, and I couldn't wait to go down there and tell them a joke. So I've always been funny. I was a fat kid and I had to use my humor so I didn't get bullied. And I ended up just went on a dare. I went up on stage at Bennington's Comedy Scene, Clearwater, Florida, September 20th, 1992. And I did 20 minutes of Rodney Dangerfield. Yeah, I'll tell you, I get no respect at all. And I did all his jokes, and it killed, of course, because it was Rodney. And when I got off stage, my good friend Lou Angel Wolf, he said, if you don't have an act that works, you might as well do one that does. And then I realized I had to write my own material, and I never looked back.
That's so cool. So tell me about entertaining the troops, because I'm a military veteran.
Oh, right on.
Are you a veteran too?
No, but I spent enough time with them that I feel like I am.
You probably have PTSD or survivor guilt.
The day I got to the Middle East, 5 troops were killed in a Humvee right outside the military base that I was staying at. So I got hit hard, and we were shot at, missed, shit at, and hit. I mean, we saw some crazy stuff while I was there. It changed my life. 180-degree turnaround. But I've been to Japan twice, Korea twice. I went to Japan with Rick D'Elia. I went to Korea with Shema Tosh.
The volume, is there any way to get closer or talk louder?
How about that?
That's so much better. Thank
I'm sorry. I went to Korea with Shema Tosh. I went to Japan with Rick D'Elia. I went to the Middle East with Johnny Dam, Jeff Hodge, Richard Villa, and we toured 25. We were there for 25 days. We toured 8 countries, went all over. It was an amazing experience. I went to Iceland. We were in Afghanistan. We were all over Saudi Arabia, and then when I was in the Middle East, it was the best experience. When I was in Korea, the funniest thing happened. You're certain cabs that you're supposed to take, and I don't read itineraries. Not that I do, but not that well. And I didn't realize that the cab I took off the base, which one it was. So I just hopped in a cab at 2 a.m, hammered from Soju, and got into a cab that the driver spoke no English. I spoke no Korean. And we drove around for 3 hours doing sign language to try to figure out where I wanted to go. And he finally got me to the military base.
Wow.
And we just laughed and laughed and laughed because it was just so stupid that I didn't know where I was going. And
The volume went out again.
what's going on with this thing? Well, it's a Chinese computer, probably, not the virus.
There, that's better.
Is that better?
Yeah,
All
when
right.
you talk to the military people, did you get into any good conversations that have stayed with you a lifetime?
Oh, yeah. I have friends that stayed with me a lifetime. While I was in the Middle East, a lot of the generals were trying to tell me to come back here and tell the world what was going on with the war. That we're not really fighting a war. We are there for certain reasons, and it was to sell our businesses to. The way the military machine works, and Dick Cheney at the time, they would blow things up and then rebuild it with our materials and our stores. When Saddam Hussein went through Kuwait and blew up Kuwaiti City, they rebuilt it with Starbucks and Johnny Rockets and Chili's and Applebee's. And if you didn't see the Arabic writing, you would have never known if you were in Collins Avenue in Miami or Los Angeles, Hollywood Boulevard. It looked exactly the same. It was all American businesses. And they would say, please go back and tell them why we're fighting. And when we drove from Afghanistan to Iraq, we drove for 2.5 hours, and it was blown up Humvees from Russia, helicopters, Jeeps. And the first building we came to with a light on it was a Burger King. So we kind of figured what was going on, and had like Weyerhaeuser trucks driving by with loads and loads of lumber to rebuild. And of course, Weyerhaeuser is our American business. So the war effort is money. Let's put it that way. That's all it's
Darn
about.
right
is
it
money.
is.
We're killing our young people.
Yeah.
Don't get me started. But anyway.
I totally see what you're saying. I totally agree with you. And it's very sad.
Yeah. So you're digging up some stuff that I tried to bury. Anyway.
Yes. So.
But yeah, the best time I had was in Qatar. We performed in front of 11,000 troops, and we signed autographs for 4.5 hours, and we didn't stop until the last person came through. And yeah, I've got some lifetime friends over that.
That's so precious.
Yeah.
You're so tender and sweet, you know. It's still fresh memories, right? When was the last tour you went on, Warren?
My last tour was 2005.
Do you miss it?
Yeah, 2005.
So if I talk to you
it started getting too volatile around the world, so I just stopped touring around the world.
Have you ever gone and done military or veteran comedy here in the United States?
Yeah, I did couple military bases, Camp Pendleton. I did a couple of I did one in Georgia, Fort Benning. Um, yeah, I've done a few here in the States.
So I've done I did a comedy show in Manhattan at the VA
Wow.
hospital on 23rd. I did it every week
Oh, that's
by
great.
myself in the outpatient psych ward.
Wow. Very cool.
And then I did it for in Portland, Oregon. I went across the river to Vancouver, and I did comedy for people in rehab,
Oh,
but they wouldn't
nice.
let me do comedy for the people, the veterans in rehab. They made me do it for the employee meeting for all the brass and all of the volunteers. They made them sit there and listen to my comedy. They were hostages, and I was a beginner, and they were sitting there like, go ahead, make me laugh. It was,
That's the
I went
toughest.
back for 5 weeks in a row with 5 different styles of comedy and 5 different sets of jokes. Never got them to laugh. And so I said, I don't think that I'm for them. That I don't see that this is going to work. So then they almost arrested me. I could cry about that I've been through with the VA not wanting veterans to laugh.
Oh, I know.
Don't even get me started. We should talk over coffee sometime.
Yeah, a good friend of mine that I met, his name is Rudy Grisham. And Rudy he was the liaison between the president and the VA from Ronald Reagan all the way through now to Donald Trump. And he told me some horror stories. So yeah, the VA needs an enema.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. I was told that I was not allowed by law to be on the VA grounds and telling jokes. In my own country, I did not have freedom of speech.
Unbelievable. Well, because the military is a whole nother country.
True.
Washington, D.C. is its own country.
That's
It
right.
just, yeah. So that's a whole nother can of
Yeah.
worms, though.
Tell me some goofy, funny things that have happened. I mean, you've been on the road with Stephen Pearl, Jeffrey
Ugh.
Peterson, and other legends.
Oh my God, I've toured with everybody. There's not a comic that you can mention that I haven't worked with. Um, the stories until they pass away, they have to be kept confidential.
People don't understand what it used to be like, right? Or
Oh God. I feel sorry. I feel sorry for the females that had to tour with male comics. Oh my God.
yeah.
Because animals. That's all I can say.
I
But
was in the military in the 70s,
oh,
and I'm getting 100% service connected disability for what the men did to me.
oh my goodness.
So, like I could sit here and cry too,
Yep.
but I'm telling you, we come from an era where anything goes,
Yep.
anything was okay. We
Hmm.
just had to take it.
And now we're in an era where nothing is okay.
I, I
So
like I like to say that, the young people, you don't even know what it was like for me. You have Gloria Allred on speed dial. You
yep.
know, what was all red in my day? Our faces. We
Yeah, no
we
kidding.
couldn't say no to nothing.
Yeah, and that's what it is too with the rioting and all that. The kids they're influential. They're easily led because they didn't live through the Watts riots. They didn't live through Rodney King. They didn't live through John Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy.
Good Lord. The
It
things that
just
we have,
breaks my heart because they don't know and they're so impressionable and they think communism is good and they don't realize what you fought for. And so to me, I just think that, the president should just take them, drop a cargo net on top of them and say, goodbye, you guys are done. Because this is really ridiculous. In this country, I never thought I'd ever see riots in our own streets and in multiple cities around the country. And it's the powers that be, the deep state, whatever you want to call them, that are trying to pit black against white. And it's not that.
It's not.
I live in North Las Vegas. All my neighbors are black and brown, and it's ridiculous. We're outside with our dogs. We laugh. We talk. We're not racially divided. The people in powers that be are dividing us racially, and
Absolutely.
it's just stupid. So hopefully everything, I stay funny and just not try to deal with it.
No,
I don't
it's
watch
so
TV. We don't
depressing.
let the news in. I don't care. I really don't anymore. It's gotten to the point where, I've got to worry about me and mine, and everybody else fend for yourself, man. Luckily for me, I started. I wanted to get out of comedy because the whole "I'm offended" just started to really bother me. And if I have to censor what I want to say, then I'm not a comedian. Then I become a puppet and I got to dance like a monkey. And I'm not going to do that. So I couldn't get into church because we had a little puppy. Lucky, come here. Come here.
Come here, Lucky.
Come here. And this little guy, he was just a baby when I got him.
Oh, Lucky. Oh
Yeah,
my God.
he's such a love. And at the time, I couldn't really go anywhere because he needed attention. I mean, my girlfriend Betty, she had to sit with him and every day, or he would lose his mind because he was abandoned 3 times. So he just was like, "You're not going to come back." So he'd freak when you left. So now he's gotten a lot better. He really is. He's grown into a dog now. But when he was a puppy, it was tough. So I couldn't go to church with Betty, and I had to watch him in the car while she went to church. And on the radio, I was listening to the radio station at KKVV, and they needed a board op producer. So just for the heck of it, I called them, and they called me down for an interview, and I got the job. And luckily, we have the emergency alert system, so they can't shut us down. We are an essential business. So luckily for me, I haven't made a lot of money, but I've at least been able to cover everything that needs to be covered. And thank the Lord, really.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
the comedy for me, I'm reinventing myself again. I have a production company called Cinegaze Entertainment with my partner, Matthew Collins. And that's what we're doing. We're shooting an interview show, comics like what you're doing here. We're doing with John Maurice. He's John Maurice is a comic at Tickle Me Comedy Club. You know John, and we're doing a talk show with him. He's going to do an interview show. We got some guests lined up, and we're going to shoot that. We're going to shoot a psycho thriller, an animated. We're just going to be doing a lot of different things. It's going to be comedy involved, but I don't know about stand up. Every 30 years, I reinvent myself. I was a musician for almost 30. I quit that to do stand up 30. I got to do my next 30 if I
Let me
make it
ask
that
a
long.
question about your music career. Were you
Yeah.
in a group that I would remember?
I played with guys. Do you remember the band Molly Hatchet? Well, I played with 3 of those guys for a while. I played with Clarence Clemens from The
What?
Boss. Clarence Clemens, the sax player. He had a open mic night on Clematis Street, and every time they saw me, they had to have me on the drums because the drummer they had there was a Russian dragon. He was either Russian or dragon. So they saw me, and the drummer got mad at me, and I was like, "Dude, practice. What can I say to you?" They wanted me to play. So, but I played with Bob Ronga in a band and Richie Cote. He's on Facebook as well. Bob passed away a few years ago. Bob used to write at Chapel Music with the Gershwin brothers, and
Can can you can you say
yeah,
that louder?
yeah. Bob used to write with the Gershwin brothers, Ira and George Gershwin, at Chapel Music. He wrote songs for. Remember the Banana Splits,
I remember it.
the,
Yeah.
the
Very.
cartoon with the bears that played music, and then he played with Cat Stevens. He's played with everybody, and we've had a band called Dog, DOG, and we played all over. We went to Canada, we went to the Virgin Islands, we toured for about 5 years. And like I said, I got too fat for spandex and moved to Florida and
What's
cut
the
my
best,
hair. And
if you had to pick out the best accomplishment of your life, best memory, professional memory, what would it be? You've done so much.
wow. The best memory. Oh gosh. Let's see. There's been so much stuff. I would have to say going to the Middle East.
I had a funny feeling from the way you talked about it. Yeah.
Changed my life.
I'm my dad's Jewish. He survived the Holocaust, and I raised
Wow.
a daughter. I raised a daughter alone to really respect, the Judaism in us. And I always wanted to take her to Israel. I told her when she was 13, but when 13 came, we didn't have the money, and I
Yeah.
never got to fulfill that promise.
Well, you still
Maybe
can.
someday.
Yeah, it's still there. It'll still be there. It's 2,000 years old.
Yeah, it'll still be a few rocks still around.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to Mecca too, but it was the times that I wanted to go was when I was there, and we were in the middle of the war. It was '05. It was a lot of shooting and killing, and I mean, we weren't allowed to go out anywhere, but I did anyway because I didn't care. I mean, to me, people are people, and I never was received by so much love than when I was in Afghanistan.
Wow. That's so precious, Warren.
Yeah, the funniest thing I heard was while I was there, there was a store owner, and he was having an argument with another guy at the counter. And he says, "My friend, you are no longer my friend, my friend." And I never laughed so hard at my friend. And it ended up being a thing on tour that we would say to him, "How are you, my friend?"
What?
"How are you, my friend?" Because he says, "You're no longer my friend, my friend." So yeah, it was there was some really, really good times. And I wouldn't trade a day.
That's so cool. So young comics out there, get out there and serve jokes to the military. Get on some of these armed forces entertainment type of things.
Comics on
will change
Duty,
your life.
that's a real good one. Armed Forces Entertainment, it's another good one.
I can't hear you.
On Armed Forces Entertainment and Comics on Duty.
Comics on Duty.
Yeah. Those are the two best ones that are out there. They treat you with respect, and they actually pay you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these guys were getting $30,000 for military tours and paying the comics $100 a show and keeping all the money.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Please.
Yep. That's why comedy's gotten to the point where everyone's a bottom feeder now. All the bookers are, you get $5,000 for a show and you give the comic 500. No. You're supposed to take the 500 and the comic's supposed to get 4,500. You're supposed to take 10%. The comic doesn't make 10%. So that's where it's gotten to me to be a joke, literally.
Exactly. And stop doing that. Stop screwing the comics.
Yep.
Look at all
The
these
thing
years
is, though, is that it used to be when I started, it was 5,000 clubs and 500 comics. Now there's 5,000 comics and 200 clubs. Wow. So, and if you don't do it for the $100, there's 400 others that'll do it. So you can't even say no and hold out on the money because somebody else is going to do it. Wow. And that's where it's gotten. And it's gotten too politically correct, and it's gotten too offensive. So I'm done. I'm going to figure out, I'm going to do something else. I put in my time.
Yes, you did. And you're a living legend. And people, when your name comes up, the word legend always follows it. And not just Jeffrey Peterson saying that.
Oh, that's sweet.
But
Yeah,
it
I don't
is
look at,
always Jeffrey Peterson too.
yeah, he's amazing. I love that guy.
Yeah, him and Stephen Pearl. You guys
Yep.
went out to Route 66
Yeah,
over
we were
years.
billing ourselves as the new Three Stooges. We went to Gallup, New Mexico on New Year's Eve for 2020. And we had a blast, man. We had so much fun. The ride there and the ride home was more fun than actually doing the show. We
Oh,
had 6 hours in the car on the way there and 6 hours on the way back, and we laughed and laughed and laughed. It was great.
did Betty go?
Yep.
Betty went?
So did Lucky. Lucky
Lucky.
sat and watched the show.
Aw.
Yep.
How do I get a lucky dog?
Well, we went to PetSmart on, it was called Four Paws Adoption, and they had a bunch of puppies and dogs and stuff. And we already saw Lucky online, and there was another one, but that one was adopted. So when we went, his name was Lefty. When we went to pick him up and see him, he was left at the vet to die with parvo when he was just 8 weeks old, and the vet brought him to life. And then he went to 3 different foster homes and nobody kept him. So when we got him, he was kind of shell shocked, like, are you going to leave me too? So Betty held him for about 45 minutes, and I went around looking at other dogs. I came back to him, and when I stood next to her with him, he leaned back and licked her face and then leaned forward and licked me. And I said, he just chose us. Come here, you.
I had a beagle for 15 years. It was the love of my life. And when he passed away,
Honey,
I kept looking for another beagle that was black with white paws and a white tail. I found one. And I went and I adopted this new dog. And I was holding him 2 weeks later on the couch. And I heard this terrible, like an earthquake happen inside his esophagus.
Oh my goodness.
And took him to the vet down the street, and all of his discs had exploded, and you could hear it coming through his mouth.
How did that happen?
So I got to get a dog because I got to get over this.
Yeah, you got to. They're the best thing in the world. And dog is God backwards. That's how I look at it.
Yes. Yes. Forget downward dog. It's backward dog.
That's right. He's a love. He is so full of love. And all he wants to do is just be with you any way he can. And he loves other dogs. He was raised with, when we first got him, we lived with Sabrina Sweary's mother-in-law. And Sabrina was married to Alan Stephen, and Sabrina's sister was Sam Kinnison's wife. That's how I know everybody. That's the circle I ran in. And Sabrina's mother-in-law had a house, and she had a room, and I was in Florida getting my hips checked out, and we moved out of the place that we were living in to go to Florida. And when I came back, we were scrambling. I got to find an apartment, and nobody would rent over the phone. You had to fill out an application, and then you had to go see it. So anyway, she hooked us up with her mother-in-law, and her mother-in-law had a 22-year-old cat, a 15-year-old cat, and a 10-year-old cat, and a 10-year-old dog. And when the puppy got there, they surrounded him like he came in a new prison, and they walked around him like, dude, you are not going to take over. And it was funny. And then he got along with everybody. The cats loved him. The dog loved him. So he's just a love. I don't care who he meets. He barks when but he's barking because he's talking to you. He's not barking out of he's scared or defensive. He's barking like, hey, what's up? And he loves everybody. I haven't met anyone he doesn't like.
Oh.
Yeah, he's so cool, man.
I need to cut it short and head on
Okay.
out of here for my 12 o'clock. And
All
I
right.
can't thank, I'm so glad I'm so glad I had this time together with you. I'll do the Carol Burnett thing. Thank you
Nice.
so much for letting me and my people get to know you.
Well, I appreciate you reaching out and wanting to interview me. I mean, that's
Oh my
really sweet.
gosh. You're a living legend right here beneath our eyes. You
That's
know,
funny.
book good people. Don't just book your friends, book people that are legends. Book people that really understand the business because
And just
they've
book
done it.
people
No
that are
shortcut.
funny. Just book people that are funny.
Book
Because you're
people that
killing
are
comedy by putting 10 unfunny people up. And people go to a show and they next time they go, you know what? I saw 10 comics, not one made me laugh. So
yep.
I'm not going. So
I
you're
can't
really
tell you how
killing the
many times I've
business.
heard that too.
Yeah, they're killing the business. So it's oversaturated. Everyone wants to be a comedian, but not everybody's funny.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
Do
Well,
that,
thank you, Linda.
guys.
I
Book
appreciate it.
funny. What?
Be funny. Thank you. I
Be
appreciate
funny
you.
or get the hell out of the way and let Warren on stage.
Or Linda. How about that?
Thank you, Warren Durso.
Thank you, Linda. I appreciate you.
I love you. Bye. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye, Betty. Bye, Lucky.